Okay, under new business, we tonight have with us Lynn Graves. He's the representative from Graves and Associates, CPA, and will be on hand to present the 2017-18 District Audit Report.
Good evening to those who weren't in the Finance Committee meeting. We had a real good session in there and covered a lot more detail than I'll try to cover for you at this point in time for the sake of timeliness and a lot of people probably in more business to be conducted. But we're back presenting the 2017-18 Audit Report. We did field work last summer and back here late in the fall to get the report back to you. And if we look at the first 3 pages of the report, this is what you've retained us to do, and that's perform sufficient audit procedures on the books and records to allow us to come back and render this opinion. And we're rendering an unmodified opinion, which is what you want to hear us come back and report to you, that nothing came to our attention, either situationally or departures from accounting principles, that would warrant a modification. Then we'll jump back to page 22. This is the fund statement, and there's lots of information in here, and I know you'd like for me to read every bit of it to you, but we're going to move on from that and hit some of the highlights here. If you look at the total governmental column, and there you'll see that the district had $45 million of revenue for the year, which is a 4% increase over the prior year, and last year you had a 4% increase. So that's a real healthy percentage increase that we're seeing, probably in the 3 to 4% increase in this audit cycle for the school districts in this area. At the same time, you had a 1% increase in real spending when we adjust for the fact that you spent about $6 million on facilities last year, that you only spent about $1 million this year. So when you have that kind of revenue increase and it exceeds your spending by that much, you're going to have a pretty good bottom line. And so you had $1,588,000 net increase in fund balances for the year, compared to $430,000 the year before. Page 24 and 5. This is proprietary fund, the only one the district has, which is the self-insurance fund. And the bottom line to know about this is this $2,800,000 balance is the net savings the district has garnered up to this point in time since you implemented the self-insurance fund. So this is a real good stewardship effort on behalf of the district to have this in place, because if you didn't have it in place, this would have gone out in additional health care costs to somebody else instead of the district retaining it and managing it. Moving on to the footnotes of the financial statements, we'll look at page 36. And the cash and investments, the most important thing that I report back to you at this time is under state law, the district is required to keep its deposits either covered through pledge collateral or FDIC coverage, and we found the district to be in compliance with that state requirement. Page 40, talking about the bonded indebtedness of the district. As you know, you issued a new issue this year, which was a refunding issue, $4,630,000. It'd been about 6 years since you had done one of those. And if you look on page 41 down there at the very bottom, the $4,630,000 general obligation refunding bond issue, the most important thing there is the district should realize about $183,000 of interest savings over the life of that bond issue. So again, you've got the board and the district being really good stewards of the district's funds to save major costs when the opportunity presents itself. And if you look back up the page a little bit to the last time you did that in 2012, it's almost $1 million on that refunding issue. So you put those two numbers with the health insurance fund, that's close to $4 million of savings that the district is working to save back for other uses. Okay, moving forward to pages 72 and 73. The auditor is required to review the district's budgeting procedures to make sure they're in compliance with budgetary chapter 67. And the most important thing to you is that we found the district to be in compliance with those budgeting requirements. Page 81 and 82. This is a schedule of expenditures of federal awards. Based on federal guidelines, we have to select certain programs for testing for both compliance and internal control. And in doing so, we then come back and issue the subsequent two reports there. And again, the main thing for you is that we found you to be in compliance with those federal guidelines on both internal control and compliance. The only issue you have in there is the segregation of duty issue that virtually everyone gets in their audit reports anymore. It's been in there now for many years. We just have to leave it in there from year to year because that's the way the reporting standards require us to do that. And the last item to mention, going all the way back to page 91. This is the report we issue based on your representations on state compliance for attendance, transportation, free and reduced price lunches, etc. And we have to examine your data for material accuracy. And the main thing for you again is this report says that we found the district to be in compliance with those requirements as issued by DESE. That's your 2017-18 audit report. Again, I'm cutting out a lot more detail that we talked about in the meeting for sake of time here.
Okay, are there any questions?
Oh, just a couple of comments, if I could. You referenced the audit committee, which is comprised of Mrs. Haskell, Mrs. Jameson, and Mr. Packard, and met with Mrs. Atkinson, myself, and Dr. Dare and Mr. Hounsome. So we met upstairs to go through this in greater detail. Certainly appreciate you spending the time with us explaining the complexity of all the government accounting standards, plus the pointing out the things that we always look to do better, but I would give kudos to Kendra and her department. Also, many of the principals and directors that are here, most that are not. A good audit and good report that we receive is a reflection of the day-to-day operations of the school district and the support of the board, so we appreciate that very much.
Well, we appreciate, you and planning for that transition with Vicki, and so far, the best we can tell, it went very seamless there. Vicki was hovering around back there, which Kendra and I both are comfortable with that happening, because again, this is a very, it's a large district, and you're issuing a gap statement, and not many districts in outstate Missouri do that. And the reporting requirements and the record keeping gets a lot more complicated when you do that. And so I don't think we had any major adjustments, if any, this year. So.
Kendra is just a little meaner than Vicki, so that helps.
We're still trying to look at the definition of mean, but could be.
As stated on TV.
We're all a little afraid of her.
She's just wonderful to work with.
I'm
You've
kidding.
got quality people. Yes, we are.
They all know I'm joking.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can stand here all night if
Okay,
you want me
I can-
to, because I got new metal knees here, so I'm not fading like I usually would be by now, so. Anyway, that's where we are.
I don't think so. All right, very good.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very
All right.
much.